Nope, no, it's on now. Try it again.
Try it.
You had it the first time. I think you should shut it off. Okay, now try.
Now can I? Okay. And Marty, I do have a couple slips for you here. I brought in some forces here that both you brought in. When Buffalo County Historical Society first started, I'm not sure what all went on because I really was back teaching, and so I wasn't all that active down here. So I brought Marty in. I'll hold it up. Good. Tape it to my mouth. And I do wave with it. But anyway, I sent pictures out to a few people a while back. I'll show you the picture, and they said, I don't ever remember it being that clean. So I think the group started in the depot when Fort Kearney Genealogical Society first started working on records. I think they met in the baggage. Am I right or not?
In the second room of the depot?
Oh, it wasn't the baggage.
No, not clear back then, in the second room. There were a group of ladies who sat around the table every Monday afternoon, and they would look at school records, and they were putting them on cards, put in the card catalog. And they moved on to other records from there, but that was the very beginning. And at first, whenever things were donated, if they were archival type records, they were just another artifact. They were kind of all mixed in at first until Alice Howell took control and decided to set it up as a real archive.
Okay.
And separate it out.
And I got I must be pushing the wrong. Okay. Okay. So we'll play it this way. There. All right. That wasn't really all that much for you to see. But this is our time to shine, and so I'm going to kind of show you some of the background first because I want you to see where we were and where, then later you can go into the actual archives and see where we are now. Okay, we started out, whoops, I didn't hit anything. Okay, we started out in this little tiny building, clear back there, the brown building, which is now textile tails. But we only had one portion of that building. We have two little rooms, and you will see how little they are. There we go. Okay, I thought they meant the baggage thing, so I just wanted to show you the curtain that we now have in the back, but it only went down that far. And I just kind of wanted to show you that because you will be seeing that again pretty soon. Okay, this is what it looked like in 2007. This is the picture I sent out to Marty, Corrine, and Phyllis, and they all said, I don't ever remember it being that clean. I don't remember 2007, I probably wasn't coming. But you can see, I also don't remember having this much equipment. Marty, do you?
No, there were bookcases down there.
Well, I have a copy that I'm going to show, kind of showing where it went from there. But this is how it kind of started. We do have that original card catalog, and that was what she said the group first copied out of papers. They copied land records. I have a group of cards from the A's here that they kind of went through and wrote little things on, you know, and we but I did look this morning for some information, and I found quite a bit there, so I think we're gonna have to catalog that. But we had shelves over here that, you know, a lot of Fort Kearny collection was brought here in, and then notice the file cabinets on both sides, you can see that. Now, I'm going to show you what it looked like when I started in 2010. And Jen told me to use Canva to make my pictures, but I didn't have time to learn that. So I did my own pictures, and I want you to know when I taught third grade, my third graders laughed at my stick figures. So just be ready. So I don't want, and Brock went, oh my. So don't smirk or I'm gonna bring down the ruler or something.
I already got hit once.
Okay, this is what, and Marty started to explain this. The file cabinets remain where they were, but on top of them, you can see the blue file boxes that I tried to draw. These were all the marriage records that were stacked up there, and we have from the beginning to 1960, I think, of marriage license. Those now have been converted. I had a couple of women that would go through and pull them out because they were on, I'm going to show you, they were on little spikes that you had to draw because it was always the last one in the book. So if you wanted to copy it, pull those up, copy it, and then put it back on those things. Well, two of the women started it before we even moved in here and finished it, put them in files for me. It's so much easier to look for a marriage record. We moved the one computer over here. This is, I think, what Brock said, oh my. it was on a shelf by the file cabinets, and we had books. Marty said the directories were back there. I didn't know for sure, couldn't remember what all the books. And then down here by the table, and this is not showing it like it, were boxes that kept growing in boxes, and you would have to step over them to get any place. And you would also have to, Marty, after a while, couldn't even get in with her wheelchair. That's how tight it got in that place. And so that room was probably from that wall to about here, and then back. I mean, it was deep, but not clear deep. So you can kind of see basically the space. Okay, that was the south wall. Here's the north wall. And we have boxes again. I don't even know what all, and I'm sure, because Susan said when she came in, she got claustrophobic because she was doing research one time. So I'm sure we had stuff stacked over here and that, and then you could see the door that goes into the other little room that we had. And then the next picture is even funnier. So, but you can see it. Okay, this I tried to draw, and it was not that wide, because we did not have that much room. But we had file cabinets all along the, okay, so that would be along the west wall. In the back we had shelves, and then on the side we had great big shelves that housed all of the books that came from the courthouse that have probate records and all kinds of things. We do have probate records separate in files now too. And back here was just a stack of things, and Karina and I decided to sort out the directories one time, and she just throwing them over. So you had, I mean, we had some adventurous thing. So anyway, that kind of shows you what our setup, it was not very big. So when we moved over here in 2017, is that when we opened? I mean, imagine our room, and I'm going to show you a little bit as we go through. First, I'm going to show you the curtain that you saw just partial in the depot. It is now in the back room, and this is not a colored picture. It's only black and white So later, if you haven't been back there, you really need to come back and see the curtain on the wall. We also have curtains from the World Theater, from a country school north of Elm Creek. We have the Pool School. And then we have another one that we're not sure when or where. I don't think it was ever finished. But we can't find any paperwork that tells us who did it and where it hung. We do have a Ravenna curtain that we want to hang sometime, but when we were hanging these, it was Corinne and Sharon, and I don't know who else, we had to put things on the top so you could run the rod. Well, every stitch you took in that Ravenna curtain tore. And so we knew if we hung it up, it would just, so we're trying to create or get a rack or something to put it on. It's a pretty curtain. So then, now, this is what we have back in this room. So we have, and I'm in your way, I'll get over here on this side. We have these big wooden racks in there. We don't have as many. We have kind of moved them around. But Cabela's gave those, and they are great for storing things. We have the directories on it right now, but on the front we have kind of an opera house curtain decoration or artifacts and this type of thing. Over here, as you go in, we have file cabinets all along the end of the red carpet. These house a great amount of things, clippings, anything that has given. Now remember, none of our things we have paid or purchased. All of our material that we have has been given to us by someone. So if you can't find something on your family, it's because you haven't given us anything. Okay? So anyway, you can see all those file cabinets. And back over to the side, all of the newspapers at the time that we were in that little building were stored in the basement of the depot. So when they first brought them over, it took a long time to get that misty smell out from the damp. But now we have newspapers. We have them on this side and that side and over here. So we have from Kearney. We have Gibbon, some Gibbon, a lot of Elm Creek, Ravenna, Pleasanton, maybe one year. I don't know what happened to all of theirs, but Amherst, Little. So, all of the Buffalo County, Miller, we have some Miller too. So we have all Buffalo County papers. At the end of that rack, and you can see right here, and then we have boxes with material from the courthouse. Criminal records, I haven't really looked that much. I think we had a couple of students that have done some research, but we're hoping to get more people going on these different things. But you can see stacks over here. We have voters registration, and I only know that because I worked with somebody this week on it. We have poll books down here, and the poll books are really interesting too because it tells this person that was in earlier this week, her ancestors lived in Kearney in the 1889, that era. He was a barber, and his brother-in-law was a barber. They were black, and we've got quite a bit on them because Rita's been doing the research. She lives in California and now has moved to Georgia, but she was in here, and she found, or her husband found, in one of the registers or the poll books where Edward had voted. And she got so excited because he voted, and it was for school board that he voted, because then we looked and you could tell. I didn't know all that about those poll books. So, I learn whenever anybody comes in. Okay, we have that. And more and more. And Wyatt got to be our statue there. I said, pull in your stomach. But this just shows all of the, because this is on the other side, all of the these are military files. It doesn't necessarily tell, we don't have actual records of your military people, but we do have Fort Kearny, we have World War I, we have World War II. So we have paperwork, and we do have some names that we're finding, but we have that. We have probate records that start early on, but the end about 1920. That's all that we have in there. But you can just see, we're already out of room, guys. And here's some more. This is on the other side then. This is family histories that people have given us. We do have folders with family histories in them too. Photography. Linda's been doing, we'll list all the Kearny photographers. We don't have any from out of town. But we have Wright, Raymond, Denny's. I think there's a box or two of Jensen's. And now she's working on Geist. And we just heard from another town that they're going to give us some of their paper negatives. So Linda was so excited, she said, good. So, okay. And this is all Denny's collection. This is atlases. This is UNK. We have things with yearbooks, which I'm going to show you a few things in a little bit. And this is our computer system that we have up in the front. And this is our work from on Mondays, afternoons, kind of like Marty said they did. Volunteers come in and work, do something. Usually they have their own thing they want to do. Generally, they don't listen to me. No. But we do try some things. But that kind of shows you where we were and where we are. So I will shut that down. And now I can actually show you a few things. We have naturalization records. And somebody, I think maybe it was Fort Kearny Genealogy, I don't know who, but somebody went through and alphabetized all of these. And then we had more just recently that we found they were some of the military people that were out at the base, got their naturalization. Let's see another file. We do have, I don't get to talk at home. When you talk to yourself, they kind of look at you strange. Okay. I was going to show you, we do have a series of naturalization books. I'll just show you one. It's like this, kind of has where they came from. Sometimes it'll have the actual town. Other times it will just say Sweden. So, oh, you need it. I like this. And you can look at these later. We have, over here is a book that I just found, and we can't quite figure out what, oh, thank you, hon. A plant register. I was thinking of actual plants, but I think it's from some plant here in Kearny. We can't figure out when. Does it have dates in there? 43. So, that's kind of, but I just found that yesterday in there. So, you see what you guys maybe do. Oh, yes, and at the bottom of this, it says, penalty for answering falsely, $10,000 fine, or 10 years in prison, or both. So, do what? We have school census. Hopefully, okay. This one's from 1902, is it? 1906. Okay, the school census, they go around and, with each family that's in the school, they find out and they put the father's name and then they will put the children's name. Now this again, Rita, when she was here, got really excited. Hers were in District 7, which was Kearney, and we found Edward's name and the 2 kids listed at school. So she was just, you know, those are just little things that kind of turn you on. Okay. We also have, and I just brought one copy, probate records, and I brought Asbury Collins, who's the father of Kearney, or we think, and some of them will show what their land was, or if they were testate, there's a will in there. Sometimes they're not, so then but it does have maybe their inventory of what they had. It will list their kids at that time. So there's a lot of information depending on what you want to look at. So.
1890 is this one.
Okay, yeah, because he was one of them. Well, it's the first one in A's.
Yeah.
Or in the C's. Okay, these, and on your paper it says dog registers. It says 1030. It's supposed to be 1930. 1930 and 1931. And these, you had to register your dog when you went to get a license, and you might have the name of the dog in there. But I think that Andy told about this on the radio, because Gene said but one person came in, and that was the only thing that we could find that gave us proof that that guy lived here, was in a dog register. But we only have them for 1930 and 1931. So we have nurses, registers, we have doctors, you can look on your thing. A lot of your things, I'm going to have to update this after I'm looking at things and finding more. And that one is, courthouse. We have lots of dockets and treasurer's books. Okay, the one thing I found yesterday, because we have yearbooks, and we have Kearney Highs, we have some from Amherst. Somebody has promised me a whole set, but they keep forgetting to bring it in. And he has 2 sets, so I keep pounding him about it. We have a few from Ravenna, some from Miller, quite a few from Gibbon, Pleasanton. Who else am I missing? Oh, Elm Creek. So we have, from different, but we are open to taking anybody's yearbooks if you have them from other towns besides Kearney. We do have a complete set of Kearney, so I don't think we probably need them. Okay, but I was looking and I found these papers. I found these papers in some of my, I have lots of boxes with papers, but it had Bing Crosby, and he had done something, Kearney Women Most Beautiful and Charming, selected by Bing Crosby. And the person that gave us said his big mistake was when he left this person out. But anyway, I looked it up, yes.
He signed the yearbook and everything.
Well, and there's a letter from to Carl Franzen, who was the editor of the 1936 Blue and Gold from State Teachers College, because remember, we went through many names, Teachers College. And it is in here, and then show the pictures. There are 4 women that he chose.
Miss Elaine Maloney and Miss Betty McCurney. They signed it too. Miss Frances Moore and Miss Harriet Peterson.
So there were just 4 women. But I thought that was, like I said, we used to say every day is like Christmas here, you find something new. Okay, I think that I've kind of gone through what I have here, but you can kind of look through the cemetery bureaus. We have burials, sorry. We do have Kearney Cemetery little cards and records, but some of our Fort Kearney Genealogical Society before 1980 went out and indexed every cemetery in the county. And we do have their names unless they forgot, and like my grandmother was not in there, and I know she, So you may find some of that missing. But,
Talk about the sandboard.
we have the Sanborn maps. How many know what a Sanborn map is? Okay, good. You probably could explain it better than I. But these were done by the insurance company, right? And they show where the electrical outlets were and all fire safety. But they show a lot of things in there. Like with Kearney, they'll show one of the streets, Central used to be called Wyoming. And it will show that. And I was looking for a place called the Nebraska House, which was at 2010 Central. I've never been able to find a picture because this would have been in 1889 that it was there. And my great-grandfather was the proprietor. He didn't own it, he just ran it. I was hoping he owned it because I could find land rights. But it's fascinating. But you have to kind of learn, you can get those on the library site for Kearney. Go into, you get Kearney Library, and then you look at research and learning. Okay, you click that, you go down into their genealogy or their things, and they will have Sanborn maps for Kearney. And you can get back in, and that's where I found the Nebraska house listed, because we only have, ours is from 1924. But I did find, because we had somebody come in and want to do some more pictures of it, that they overlay it sometimes. So you might have a 1924 and 1936 that somebody came in and worked on. But use that. But you can also find for other places around the country. I have looked for some of my relatives, and I just look at Sanborn maps, online and that type of thing. So you can find them. What else do we have listed? Well, any questions on the delayed birth records are in great big books, but somebody did go through and index those, so we have a little card showing the index. And the delayed birth record, if you don't know what that is, when people started when Social Security came in, a lot of birth records were not registered until 1904 or 1906. And so, for instance, my uncle was not, didn't have a birth certificate, but he could get his mother to sign that she remembered he was born. And then his aunt also signed it, but Aunt Vera had to be about 2 at the time he was born. So if she remembered, that was pretty good. But then they could get a delayed birth record to file for Social Security. So we have the big books. Are kind of interesting to see who signed and signatures. A lot of these things will have the people's signatures. If some of your early records are still going to have an X for a name. But if they do have a signature, it's when I'm looking at records, I just feel like they've only lived if I see what they signed. So any questions or comments? Yes.
Okay, Elaine, for military records, do we have to go to the Director of Veterans Affairs?
Well,
to get
some
specific
people
records?
have gone down here to their office. I have not done it, but I remember Lynn Schaefer doing that sometime to do. If you're lucky and can find Fold 3, which is a program on the computer, it does cost, but you can get on there at least and see if the name's on, but it won't give you any records. It would give you homestead records, though, on there. There are other ways to find homestead records, too. You can go on, I always say, BLM, or GLOW records, GLO records, and then you type in the name, the state, and the county if you can. Sometimes they don't have the county. And then it will come up, and then you can click documents. It's a process, but you do get the actual homestead that they filled out, the form they filled out. You don't get the whole record, but you could get the record, I think, on GLOW records, or on, so. Other questions? I'm sorry, I can't.
I have a question about your courthouse records. Like you said you had some from the courthouse. Do they periodically, when they're at a certain age, do they transfer them, or is it just haphazard?
Well, we got a bunch of ours when they were building, they were going to dump them. And Chan Lynch saved them, right, Marty?
Right, yeah, there's a whole pile of them in the middle of the hall that they were going, they had told the janitor, get rid of. And Chan happened to come in and Phil Holmgren, and they saw that pile and they said, no, give it to us. And so we got a whole variety there. But the probate records all came at the same time, and it was 9 file cabinets full of records. They had them microfilmed, and then they didn't want the originals.
So I don't know if they've gotten rid of the ones since 1920, because we don't have them.
Well, the probate records were from the beginning of the county,
Mm-hmm.
up to, I don't know, 90s, I don't know what.
Well, we have to,
But
the one,
anyway, we got them all because we said we wanted them and not to throw them away. In fact, the microfilm company called us and said, do you want these? They're gonna destroy them. And we said, oh, yes, we want them. And do you know, a week later, a lawyer in town had gone to the microfilm to look for information from a probate for a family he had going to court about. There was something written in the margin, but he couldn't quite read it. And so he came to the Historical Society, and they went through the boxes, found that probate record, and he was able to take that original record to court to prove what the writing in the margin was to help his case. So it was a vital thing for us
Right,
to
right.
keep.
and they do bring, you know, Kelly John, this was before she died last year, but Kelly brought down a bunch of things at one time. I don't know, who was it, one that came out to do the school records? Had 2 women from, I don't know if it's county clerk or what, but brought their school records out and used our copy machine because they didn't have one that big, and copied all of these records. So I took those because they were just on the computers, and I took them and I kind of cleaned them up. I don't have them, but then they gave us the actual records. So we do have it, and it's kind of like that 1906 that he was showing. But they had actually copied them, so they had, but I don't think there's just, I went through and did clean them up so that we could actually read some of them. So, what other things, Marty, since?
Well, the marriage records, when we got them, were all in order by year. Not alphabetical order, so if someone came in wanting to know about the marriage of grandma and grandpa, we had to ask them, do you have any idea what year? Because we couldn't look up.
And now we have, and they're indexed brides. We can look in the index or grooms, and then we can go pull.
Alphabetically.
Yeah, but the Fort Kearney Genealogical Society did that. I think June Kepi finished. That was because we were still, she had a stamp that she could stamp and then had things she could write. But, you know, then we had some college kids here working with the probate, and I have the names in a list, probate and dates, and a couple of things that I have, and I sent those to Mona Hauser, and Mona is supposedly our clerk for Buffalo County with US Gen Web. If you go on US Gen Web, you can see Buffalo County, Nebraska, and they'll have records that she has kind of put some. Now, Mona's not been well, so it hasn't been updated. But every county has that in every state, so you can get some records when you're working on your research there. I don't want to send you away from Kearney, but I do realize not all of us have Buffalo County. Any other questions before we head back?
In our new building, we do have a sprinkler system, and it's checked regularly. But if there is a fire, how much damage would that, I mean, these records.
But these are not, the sprinkler system is a powder. It's not water. By the sprinkler system, if it goes off, it's gonna be a powder. That, because the water would destroy everything. So. You're sure?
It's still a mess.
Elaine, I have another question. I haven't seen or heard about the number of churches that are in the county. Do you have any records?
We have a whole 2 drawers with church that we've gleaned, and we have one of our students that is working on creating some kind of a booklet with it or something, we hope eventually. But we do have a lot of churches, and Julie Brooker kind of organized those a couple years ago, so they're a little bit neater. It's a constant thing, organizing and moving things around, and then you get something like right now we're in the process of using hanging folders so these things will stand up instead of buckling down, but we keep running out, so we have to wait till one of us can afford to go buy some more. So, but we do welcome anybody that wants to work with us on Monday afternoons. We're open to anybody that wants to come and do something. And so if you're really looking for more than just, we have a lot of Buffalo County, but Jean Whittleson's here from the Heritage Center in Gibbon has a lot of Gibbon records down there. Right, Jean? She's exhausted. They just opened it. We were talking, they opened the time capsule at Gibbon on the 5th, and they had opened it earlier for a dry run or to see if the moisture had killed the things in the, because a lot of times you open these time capsules and so then they had just a board over it. So when they went to do that on Sunday, the guy that lifted when he lifted the board, he went, and some other guy walked up and threw a snake out. And then he walked back up, there was another snake. But they weren't in the time capsule. And the time capsule looked like, it was the neatest time capsule. It was like a torpedo, it was really a neat time capsule.
And it was all perfect in there.
Yes, yeah. So, but, I know that Gibbon has records, Pleasanton has, Corrine, Pleasanton has records in the depot. Pleasanton has records, do they have, okay, not very many.
Mostly just the history of the depot.
Okay, and Urbana has some really good files too, but you have to make an appointment for these to go to them. And Fort Kearney has a lot too. In fact, you would like to see the ledger with the bullet in it.
We can do that.
Gene Hunt. Any other questions?
Yeah, what year was the Gibbon, buried, the time capsule they dug up?
It was 50 years ago.
50? Oh.
Yeah. But the snakes weren't there 50 years ago. Well, there might have been. Might have been their ancestors. Anything else? Okay, you're free to come back and look and enjoy. Oh.
Next month, we would like to welcome you back to Fabulous Friday, August 14th. It will be The Road Not Taken, Robert Kennedy by Dennis Crawford. Okay, he has written a book, so he will be speaking, the author will be speaking next month for a Fabulous Friday. Again, that's August 14th. Thank you for joining us.